In recent years, the term toxic fandom has gained significant traction online. Mainstream media outlets love to report on the actions and comments from quote-unquote toxic fans for the attention and subsequent clicks it generates. Initially, this term was predominantly used to describe a subset of fans who expressed vehemently negative viewpoints, often laced with personal attacks and even harassment toward creators and other fans. This behavior is often thought by others to involve a rigid, uncompromising stance on the correct interpretation or direction of a franchise, motivating their instigation of aggressive confrontations online. Predictably, the toxic label has also been unfairly placed on people with legitimate concerns and criticisms. However, actual toxicity is understood by many to represent an extreme obsession with a particular aspect of pop culture, where passion morphs into hostility. This results in the targeting of others who hold differing opinions, thereby creating a divided and hostile environment within a given fandom. This concept of toxic fandom, however, does not exclusively apply to negative critiques. It extends equally to what can be termed as toxic positivity, which applies to a vocal and often even more hostile part of fandoms that has received little recognition in comparison to their negative counterparts. In this video, I'd like to talk about toxic positivity and how it is proving detrimental to any fanbase in which it is present. Toxic positivity is an often overlooked behavior which involves demonstrative fans who aggressively defend their favored IPs against any form of criticism. Such fans often engage in similar fan-on-fan attacks, targeting those who attempt to voice even mild or constructive criticisms. Anyone who has dared to share a nuanced or honest opinion online likely has experienced the wrath of such toxicity. Even those who respectfully offer legitimate criticism for the perceived mishandling of an intellectual property have been at the receiving end of insults and personal attacks, with their fanhood questioned simply for not being absolutely over the moon for a particular piece of content. This kind of toxic positivity often flies under the radar as it masquerades as enthusiasm or loyalty to the franchise. For some, it's easy to misconstrue these actions as merely a passionate defense. However, this positive aggression stifles healthy debate as it shuns differing viewpoints, insisting on an environment where only unequivocal praise is acceptable. This echo chamber effect not only diminishes the value of differing perspectives, but also contributes to a hostile atmosphere where more casual fans feel pressured to conform or stay silent, allowing only uncritical adoration of the content in question. This form of toxic positivity is therefore just as reprehensible as its negative counterpart for the way it undermines the spirit of what makes any given fandom dynamic and engaging. This trend also manifests in behaviors that go beyond mere polarization of opinions. It perpetuates a culture of us versus them, where fans are pushed into extreme positions of either unwavering support or complete rejection of new projects. This binary outlook leaves little room for nuanced discussions or the appreciation of different aspects of a franchise. Moreover, it gives rise to a particular form of gatekeeping, where fans who express any form of dissent or critique are quickly dismissed and labeled as haters. Where this kind of gatekeeping really crosses the line is when it escalates into personal attacks, where dissenting fans are subjected to vitriolic comments that question their intelligence, understanding, or loyalty to the franchise. This practice not only diminishes the depth of thought within these fandoms, but also erodes their foundational ethos, which is to celebrate and engage with content in a multitude of ways. The insistence on a single monolithic form of fan expression under the guise of positivity is ultimately a disservice to the wider blend of perspectives that serve to enrich any fanbase. The detrimental impact of toxic positivity on the creative integrity of franchises is another significant concern. If fans were only allowed to exhibit blind, unwavering support and had to perform the mental gymnastics required to defend every decision by creators or studios, regardless of how it aligns with the foundational elements of the original intellectual property, it would hinder the preservation of the franchise's core qualities. Unquestioning loyalty encourages slacking or diminishment of creative integrity and a consequential failure maintaining the fidelity and thematic depth that originally built the IP's fandom. In catering to the uncritical corners of the fanbase, creators are free to drift away from the most beloved elements that defined the IP, substituting depth and authenticity with content that merely caters to surface-level expectations. Many feel that this shift can and has resulted in content that lacks the heart and soul of the original works, diluting the unique qualities that captivated fans in the first place. This underscores the importance of a balanced fandom that is eager to support new creative endeavors, while also insisting on a reasonable level of fidelity to the core attributes that have long defined and enriched these fictional universes. Traditionally, fandoms have served as vibrant hubs for in-depth and passionate discussions, delving into every aspect of their cherished IP. In these spaces, fans engage in lively debates and analyses, providing opinions ranging from praise to criticism that are crucial for identifying shortcomings and fostering improvement. Critical engagement not only enriches the fan experience, but also contributes to the evolution and refinement of the expansion to the IPs themselves. However, the persistence of toxic positivity cuts against this dynamic, as it promotes a culture where only positive feedback is tolerated, effectively silencing any form of critique. This insistence on a one-dimensional narrative of praise creates an unbalanced environment, stifling the growth and development that come from diverse perspectives and well-rounded discussions. In doing so, it undermines the very essence of fandoms as communities built on shared passion, analysis, and thoughtful engagement with content. That being said, some fans understandably seek to concentrate on the positive elements of a franchise, especially those who feel that a focus on negativity could adversely impact their mental health. However, while that mindset is completely valid, this approach becomes a problem when it leads to the suppression of critical viewpoints. It's important to recognize that fandoms are multifaceted areas where individuals come with different perspectives and experiences. The healthy fandoms are able to accommodate and respect this kind of broad landscape, promoting an environment where praise and criticism can coexist harmoniously. This balance is crucial in allowing fans to express their genuine feelings and thoughts about various aspects of the IP. This also helps to ensure that the IP can evolve and improve, as the most talented and open-minded creators can benefit from the unique and impassioned viewpoints that fans bring to the table. So while focusing on the positives is a completely valid and even wise personal choice for many, it should not be made to overshadow or invalidate the critical insights that are equally important for the vitality and growth of the fandom. The dynamics within fandoms can be aptly likened to the varied responses customers have towards a restaurant. Just as diners might visit a restaurant and form their own opinions, fans engage with different aspects of an IP and develop their personal responses. Some fans, like customers who decide to leave a Yelp review, may choose to publicly voice their praise or critique of a particular franchise installment. Their feedback, whether positive or negative, is a valid and valuable part of the broader conversation surrounding the IP. On the other hand, there are those who, much like diners choosing not to return to a restaurant, may silently drift away from a franchise without publicly expressing their dissatisfaction or disappointment. This silent withdrawal is equally legitimate. Both forms of engagement, vocal critique or quiet disengagement, are valid expressions of individual experience with the franchise. Just as every diner's response to a restaurant contributes to its overall reputation and improvement, every fan's interaction with an IP, whether vocal or silent, plays a part in shaping its evolution and community perception. Overall, the term toxicity within fandoms, like many other buzzword terms, has become somewhat diluted, often thrown around to label any intense or passionate viewpoint. However, what constitutes true toxicity in these environments is not the mere expression of strong opinions or preferences, but rather it's the moment when fans turn against each other and make personal attacks. While many expressions of fandom might seem odd or even cringeworthy to some, they are legitimate ways fans engage with and appreciate the mythos. Whether someone adores or dislikes a new addition to an IP, overt aggression directed at them for their passion or distaste, and the rabid willingness to disparage or belittle the opinions of others, is where the real toxicity lies. The strongest and most vibrant fandoms are those in which the majority of members have embraced a spirit of mutual respect and understanding, recognizing that each person has a unique way of expressing their passion. In these communities, disagreements on the substance and details of the IP are not grounds for conflict, but rather they're opportunities for discourse. All fans would benefit from understanding that differing viewpoints on characters, plot lines, or thematic interpretations are inevitable, and it's most productive to respect each person's right to embrace whatever they're most passionate about within any fandom. In such environments, debates and discussions are imbued with a spirit of respect for differing opinions, acknowledging that the differences in thought and preference is what truly enriches the fan experience. But I'm curious to know what you think of the idea of toxic fandom. Do you believe this idea of being a toxic fan applies equally to those who are aggressively negative and positive? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and be sure to subscribe for more sci-fi and fantasy news and lore. And if you're looking for other ways to show your appreciation, you can check out my Patreon page, where members get access to exclusive content and perks. Thank you all so much for your support. And as always, have a very nerdy day.